guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today's video we got a 2020 Kawasaki Vulcan S. This is a 650 Vulcan, aka 650 Ninja in a cruiser form. So this is a really cool bike. Kawasaki just came out with these a few years ago, and this customer has done some nice modifications to this thing. That it's like a matte army green, and then he's kind of got more of the soldier thing going on. It looks super good. Really impressed with the way this thing looks. He's got a Dan Moto exhaust system on it. We're gonna see how this thing performs, see what kind of power we can get out of it. We are gonna run it with the stock ECU, get a baseline pull, see what it makes. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this thing is crazy lean. Lean means not getting enough fuel from the factory, especially with this exhaust system that he has opened up. We're gonna run it, see how it runs, and then we're gonna flash the ECU, take all the restrictions out of the bike, add the fuel to the bike, get the bike dialed in, and see what the most power we can get out of it is. We'll have the baseline pull coming up here in just a second. So we just did the baseline pull. You saw 58 horsepower, but you saw a roller coaster ride for the air fuel ratio. The tune is super jacked up on it. Now, one thing we did notice, this customer has a intake air temperature, like bypass sensor. What's the proper word for it? What did you call this? A booster plug. You know what that is, booster up good. Anyways, we're gonna remove the booster plug and see how it performs with that unplugged. So we're gonna see, did that help us or did it hurt? We're not gonna need that anymore because we're gonna tune the thing right all the time. What the booster plug does is it tricks the air intake temp sensor into thinking it's colder outside to richen the bike up, meaning give it more fuel. Cruising around, the air fuel ratio is actually pretty good. I'm sure he noticed a big improvement for just how much smoother the bike rode, but the air fuel kind of sucked going wide open. So we're gonna remove that, we're gonna test it again and see how it does, see if we get any more or less horsepower. Then we're gonna continue on with our ECU Flash and tune. Let me show you a few things about the ECU on this bike that we're able to adjust. We can go in and change the fan temperatures. We usually lower those to 195 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we can take the top speed limiter off. We disable the factory O2 sensor. And then we have the ability to disable the deceleration fuel cut. We only do that if you ask us. It's gonna make it get a little worse fuel mileage, but it is gonna make it ride much smoother. When you're on the throttle accelerating, of course the injectors are spraying. When you let off the throttle, the injectors continue to spray. If we click that button, that's gonna make your on-off throttle transition much smoother. The only downside to that is sometimes you get a little pop and a little backfiring, which can be eliminated through the pair of block-off plates. Some people like the popping, some people hate the popping. That's just an option that we have. Another thing in the other maps, if we go into the different gears, you can see the secondary throttle plates. They don't open up until about 6,500 RPM. So when you go wide open at 3,000 or 4,000 RPMs, the bike is really only getting about 60% throttle. And then you can see in the lower gears, it's all about the same as far as how much is cut back. But either way, we want it to where whenever we go 100% throttle, the bike goes 100% throttle. So we're gonna correct all that. And then we've also got different ignition timings and fuel timing tables that we put in there to get more horsepower and a smoother ride. Enough talk, let's get busy with the work. We're about to dyno this thing one more time. Mike's almost got the booster plug removed, and we're gonna see how this thing does once we get that off. Just did 2 pulls with the booster plug off, and we actually gained power. So we went from 58 horsepower to 60 horsepower and 44 foot-pounds of torque. You can see we actually got a pretty nice gain here. Let's turn our cursor on. We picked up 3 horsepower, which is pretty big numbers percentage-wise by unplugging the booster sensor, or the booster plug. Where the booster plug has got the thing way too rich, the bike actually gained horsepower, but then you see it actually made it way leaner up top. So as far as overall better for the engine, I mean, I guess you would maybe say it was better, but not really. There was not big gains either as far as the temperature difference in the air-fuel ratio cruising around. The bike is a smidge on the lean side, but not really. It wasn't that bad. So was the booster plug worth it? I don't know. You judge for yourself. I'm sure it maybe would drive smoother with it, but as far as power, made power better stock. So let's get into the ECU and get some power out of this thing again. All right, guys, we just finished up the tune on this Vulcan 650S. Big gains out of this thing. Even though we only went from 58 to 61, percentage-wise, that's a nice gain. On top of that, the customer was complaining about poor fuel mileage. He said with his booster plug, he was only getting about 70 miles to the tank of gas. Not too good. Well, the thing was super, super rich. We ended up pulling about 15% fuel out to make this thing cruise right. So he's gonna see big gains in his fuel mileage, and on top of that, gains in the horsepower as well. If you have one of these bikes, you can see the ECU is under the gas tank on this thing, and it is right here. You'll have to remove these screws, pull the tank up, and then that pops out your ECU. Of course, you see he's got the seal of approval, but it's right under the gas tank. We do mail in ECU flashes. If you have one of these bikes, you can mail your ECU in. We can flash and program your computer based off the modifications you have. Who knows, you may be even getting this same exact fuel map if you have a Dan Moto Exhaust on your bike. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel, check out some of the other videos we have. We dyno tune tons of bikes, whether it be cruiser, sport bikes, drag bikes, whatever, we do it all. Smash that like button. We appreciate you watching, guys. Hit us up, moremafia.com if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.